This is IBM Museum, and behind me for this video I have the IBM 3197 display station. I mean, I've been seeing terminal in some of the prior videos, and they are terminals, but IBM did call them display stations. And I've already gone through and covered the 3196. I explained the 3197 was a little bit bigger, and indeed that's the case. Well, I'll have to probably get alongside of it for a little bit of comparison, but we'll go through a lot of the same steps in this case. I'm going to go through, let me switch to the camcorder view so I can get the webcam out of the way. And I'll cover what I'm moving this over in just a moment. But and I'll have to see if I have to go to the point of going through and reducing that webcam view from my recording station, just to get a little bit more view, because this is a little bit bigger as I go through and spin it around, but I think I'll be fine. So we have the same style of 122 keyboard as we did for the 3196, although in this instance it goes into ultimately what is relating to the side of the system. And as I explained with the 3196, I had actually thought that the bases, and I probably need to move the keyboard out of the way just to show more of a view of the logic, what they call the logic unit, the base at the bottom of this. And so it has a little bit different of layout from the 3196. Now on this unit, I do have power connected to it. I did do a little bit of preliminary work ahead of the video where I went through, and this unit does power on, but I don't get any. Let me see if I went through. Well, it did power on before, but I didn't get any video from it. I can hear it when it powers on, and it was actually the light was staying lit at that point. So I could go through and I could do that kind of that troubleshooting process, as it were. But you know, with the contrast controls and the brightness, but I didn't get any video at all, you know, without that power light staying on. It may be where the logic unit or something else is just not getting enough, getting where the power, something's up with the power supply or the display. Now, as I say, to effectively this right hand side, the keyboard plug, and then I do have the of course the same key style as the 3196. We're going to go ahead, we'll disconnect power and the keyboard, and we can go through on the back. I'll pull the Twin X from the T lead, and let's kind of spin this all the way around. And you can see that, you know, the same range of motion that the 3196 had in that, and besides the display being bigger, the logic in it does have a You know, the connection, basically almost the same style to the 3196 screen. That's why I was kind of thinking that they were similar. Twin X lead. And it does have a port, and I think this is kind of like the later info Windows had. I think this is actually a parallel port for connecting a printer into the system, because it's a pity I didn't get a display, because I think some of these units were reported as being color for the bigger screens. And the of a description, it does have a drawer this the same way as the 3196, only it's more lateral, it's longer. The 3196 had it to where you pull it out, you know, the manual out on the thin side. And this is, like I say, on some of my units, I have a note that I didn't do that does the addresses. And it's interesting for this, it actually identifies it as a IBM 3197 Model D. And the graphics or the, you know, what's pictured for the unit matches on the inside. And it looks like it's a multi-session as well. It does up to, you know, the two station addresses, display station addresses, and then the printer address with that parallel, apparently with that parallel connection on it. And the location of elements is probably a good thing to start out with. And it shows, yeah, the printer cable. And on the back of the unit. And so this looks very close to what the manual shows. And there's the initial checks. I could go through, and this screen did have a little bit of burn in. But they've done a lot of highlighting for the manual. But it's a little bit more colorful than the 3196 manual. Now I did see this has been scanned. It is at Bit Savers for this particular 3197 manual. I didn't know if the 3196 had been scanned, but I did do a link to that in that video, so you can go through and review that if you'd like to see information about the and again, I'm getting into kind of the thing where I wasn't aware of that internal webcam on my recording system. But I guess I've shown enough of the of that, and it was just, it's mainly helpful in the fact that and they talk about replacing the logic element and things like that. If there's, you know, there's not a display in my instance, and I'm sure that the setup process is the same for the 3196. They talk about the keyboard test and going through and doing a lot of the similar things. And I need that spider that was here the other day to get these. I've got a few flies running around today, and I'm not sure what it is. But you'll see them briefly make cameos on the screen as I go through. See the video element replacement. And I probably need to get inside this and kind of take a little bit more of a look at it. Now, as I was going through, this unit actually gave me, there's a little bit of rattle when I was moving this thing around. And so I went through my other units and I'll just disconnect the Twin XT. And we're going to go through and we're going to take, don't bump my clear. Okay. And I have to make sure it's still powered up. It is. I thought I'd drop power for it for a moment, which is bad. The camcorder feeds for that. And let's just get this and have to move, kind of avoid the little obstacle course of the camcorder. Because what we're going to do is we're going to grab this one. And this is even slightly larger. And it is still marked as a 3197. I got my, just make sure my microphone cord doesn't get all tangled up. And the layout of this, it's actually got bigger venting in the sides, same kind of drawer. The manual in this one was missing, but there are features on this unit that are, for instance, it only has the brightness control, does not have a contrast control up front. Now I went through and I powered, I plugged in and powered this unit up as well, and I didn't actually get any reaction. I think a little bit of a pop at first, the first time I powered it up, and it's been sitting for probably decades, probably a good 20 to 30 years, most likely. And then it has the logic unit looks a lot of the same, despite the changes to the display unit, just seemingly to be a little bit bigger, these venting. And I'm not sure where this actually falls in place, because there's like a Model C, there's probably an earlier being from that, an earlier Model A and B. And this does actually have an IBM repair tag on it. And so I don't know if if this is in operational condition at one point. And so with the logic unit being the same sort of connections, this unit actually has a detachable cable on the display assembly, and it's actually even keyed, so you couldn't go through and plug in another, like a printer connection or something like that, into that. It's just keyed for the different pinouts. But it's just sad that I'm not able to identify as of yet of what specific models these are. These are just marked as 3197, and I didn't see any other notation. And then, of course, the nice badge that it has, even on the underside of the unit. And I do have the keys in this unit, and it actually works for this model. That's where I got the keys from, and so it didn't work in the other 3197. So evidently they're not all keyed alike. They were keyed differently for customers. there's a identification here, and again, it seems identified as a 3197 for that very, it's not very dark. It's gray lettering that's imprinted on the bottom of this. And of course, the logic unit being the same, I would more expect that the display unit, if it was different, to be marked appropriately. But I'm not seeing any identification on the back of this either. So maybe there's others that can go through and leave comments. This is a little bit more of a truncated video for the fact of not being able to go through any operation. Now that I have that 3196 process, which is probably identical on other terminals, and I didn't go through that process on the 3180 terminal that I did in a previous video, but probably a very similar setup as that one as well. So that really covers, I mean, without having an operational unit, as much as I can. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click on that like button, and please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. But this is IBM Museum. That's all I have for now. Thank you.